you and I have something in common. We both follow the Hood Healer.
I love the Hood Healer. I love her.
So I love the Hood Healer. I tapped in with the Hood Healer during the pandemic. Everything happened for me. My whole life changed.
Me too.
During the pandemic. And the Hood Healer really got me through some like deep, dark moments.
Yes.
And I believe it was because I started doing like the shadow work and the inner child healing. But explain to people who don't know who the Hood Healer is. Who is she?
Hold up.
So people,
Nah, I love her. I know. Like, that's my sis.
And
like,
by the way, when she's on IG Live, like I'm seeing you tapping.
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah. I'm like, hey, but I love her because, like, it was
who
always.
Is she? Wait.
Oh
who
yeah,
is she?
okay. I'm sorry. I get excited talking about her.
I know.
So the Hood Healer, she's like very known on the internet.
A real name Imani.
A Virgo, fashionista, bad.
Yes.
Top tier.
But
she's somebody who sparked, like you said, the awakening in me. It was like having, not to call her mommy or whatever, but it was like a person on the internet which reflected so much with my mom. But it wasn't as, like when your mom says stuff, you be like, aye. Well, at least me, but I still listen.
No,
but like
me too,
hearing the same, like, the same kind of like approach on life, how she was going at it, like it really sparked in me like the awakening to also look inside myself. And Imani is somebody who's like, she doesn't care to be wrong, she doesn't care to be right, she's just delivering the facts. Like she'll just be like, well, F how you feel, this is what it is. You see her like munching or whatever.
She's the real her.
Yeah, she's the
very
real her.
Authentic.
Very. And it also helps me also not do the whole deleting or like, girl, you better stand on what you say, because there's times where like the internet will fall on her and she's still standing. I'll be like, yo, like Imani really does not care. And most of the time she be right about the things she's saying. So it's like, even like discovering Imani did like the pandemic was huge for me. It did that.
Yeah.
It definitely made me go inside, because like Imani would be like, well, what is wrong with you that
Everything
you're
is to
attracting?
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She doesn't, she's not a person to be like, well, you need a da-da-da, these people are not. Like, it's more so of a person who makes you reflect on yourself. Like, what can you do better? Like, how can you change the surroundings around you, but starting with you? And that's what I admire about that woman, because even then, like, she grew up like without her biological mom.
Without both. Remember,
yes,
they both passed away.
Yeah, so even watching her journey as a mom, like I was scared to have kids. Like, after a while, I didn't want kids because there's so much stuff that you see on the internet. You be like, oh my God, like, you never really know people. But seeing Imani, like, how she just so open, like, with her baby and stuff. God bless your baby.
Yeah. Baby Om. Shout out to Om.
Om, right?
Yeah.
Like, just seeing her be, like, she's just, like, it's just, I don't know, I get so excited talking about her, but like just an example, like if you're looking onto her, is like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody who stands in their truth, somebody who stands in their power.
Yeah.
Very, like I said, fashionista, like very
super
Sex in the City kind of girl. Like she's popping out, she's saying what she wants, you know what I'm saying? So it gives that, like I'm not too much.
Yeah.
Like I'm not too much. I don't think I'm not too opinionated. I don't think I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? So she gives that.
I think Imani, like for me, what she does for me is she holds me accountable for the things that I've done. And for a long time, I was always, I didn't grow up with my dad, but I was always blaming him for a lot of the relationships, like the failed relationships that I had in my life. And I was never interested in like having that conversation with my dad, because I didn't care. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You did me wrong, whatever, I'm good. Like,
so he was around, but not around.
I'm going to tell you how around he was. He was in Brooklyn and I was in Harlem. And he would say, I'm going to come see you. I'm going to come see you. And I'll be waiting with the coat on. That
was me sometimes.
And he would never come.
And he's Dominican. Okay.
That's
was
a
me
stereotype,
sometimes.
though.
No, but that's how they are. And I don't know if you've gotten there with it, but I've had to realize like they came from a whole different upbringing.
It's a different upbringing.
So it's like, even then, like, does your dad hug you?
No, I don't think I've ever received a hug from my dad.
My dad hugs me now, but it took me to get older, and I feel like even then I'd be like, all right, like my dad would do the tap when I got older, you know what I'm saying? So I was a daddy's girl too. So when he cut off and just saw me as like an adult, like there was times where I would go, and I was in Harlem, he was in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting, or he'll say, oh, pull up on me. I'll be waiting outside. I'll be like,
what's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like for games, I wanted my parents there. They were never there, but I had to realize like, yo, they came from, you see how they treated us?
Yeah.
They had it worse with their parents.
And that's what I'm saying. So when I started doing the work, then I was like, okay, well, what was his dad like? You know, or like, and my mom did a great job on not like, you know, like blaming my dad for anything or painting him out to be like the bad guy. She was like, her energy was like, well, you could see for yourself.
Yeah. That was my mom.
Like, you could see what he's doing. I don't even have to say much, you know?
Because he was there, though. Don't get me wrong. Like, my dad definitely looked out and stuff. But there was definitely a time where I was more confused, like, with myself. And I was, like, disgusted with myself. Like, oh, my God, I'm growing. I'm not daddy's little girl. Maybe that's why he's not treating me like this. Right. So, again, it does play a part a lot in a lot of, like, relationships and stuff.
In
or, like,
relationships.
how you feel like you have to shrink yourself or you have to act a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And my dad's a Taurus, and he's, like, stern. So there was a lot of things where I'd be like, you don't listen, you're just being bad. But then, like I said, growing up, you'd be like, oh, okay, like you just wanted. I'm actually happy, even though it was a little bit kind of like rough with both of them. I'm happy because I feel like maybe that's what this soul needed to learn and be who I am right now. And, you know, because I'm still.
Yeah. But how does that play out in like relationships and dating?
Dating.
Because it made me like not want to date anybody that was like my dad. I was like, oh no, if you remind me of my dad, I'm good on it. I don't want you.
I was actually the opposite. I feel like after like a year or half of a year into the relationship, I realized I was dating men similar to my dad. So that's crazy that you had that kind of experience where you were run away. But I never knew I was attracting men just like that. So I was definitely attracting like controlling men or just men that like, cause my dad he's a tough one, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So he was always like very like judgmental a lot of times, or like you don't need to be. There was one time we had a big argument because it was the summer, like literally the middle of the summer, and I was by the window, and he's like, "You should be reading a book," and like my grandma had to be like, "Cállate, leave her alone, like she's not doing nothing." But my dad was always like, "You need to be doing stuff. You need to be educated." But I realized, like I said, their upbringing.
And what is your relationship with your dad now? Like,
I love my dad.
Yeah?
Yeah, like it's like I said, like Imani, thank you for her, you know.
Imani's dope.
Yeah, but it took a lot to like forgive myself, forgive others, forgive situations that to them, like, cause sometimes I will tell my parents, like, when I got older, I'll be like, yo, not to hold you. Do you remember this day? What they thought was like this was like, nah, that was very impactful. But it also made me realize, like, yo, there's even with my close friends or relatives that there's going to be situations that I'm not looking into as deep because they're reflecting upon it in a different way from something internal.